In this particular video, we'll talk more about a MOS transistor, or basically a MOSFET, and we'll understand when it turns on, when it turns off, and all those things. And also we'll look at different flavors of MOS transistor. So yeah, let me write it down over here. Fine. So let me draw the basic MOSFET structure. This is how MOS looks like. We have seen this in books and undergrad schools and everywhere. This is the source, this is the drain, and this is what I draw a gate over here. And this particular voltage between the gate and the source is, let me call it as VGS, or this is the usual notation of voltages between gate and source. Okay, let me call it, I think the S didn't come good. Okay, great. So we'll try to look into what this voltage level should be to make this transistor to turn on, or basically the behavior of a MOSFET as a switch. So let me put a plain arrow over here, and so I'll make a statement over here that when VGS is greater than equal to something called as VT, or the threshold voltage. I'll talk about threshold voltage in some time. For now, we'll just make a statement that when VGS is greater than VT, your device will act like a closed switch. So let us model the MOSFET something like this. Okay, so let's term it as R. We'll call this as source. We'll call this as drain. And we'll say the switch will turn off, the switch will get closed only when VGS is greater than equal to VT. Or a very safe thing would be to put a mod over here, because there are different variants of a MOSFET. It could be an NMOS, it could be a PMOS. So this particular mod says that we are talking about a MOS transistor and not specifically about NMOS or PMOS. All right. Okay. This is clear. Next, let us make it more simple. So VT, we told it's a threshold voltage, and it's a very small voltage. It's like, in the terms of, for a 1 volt device, it would be like 200 millivolts or 300 millivolts. So we'll put a statement like it's very small. So if it's small in a digital world, we'll take it as 0 for now. Only digital, we'll write over here. Okay. Okay, so digitally we can say that VT is very small, as good as it's close to 0. It's only in the digital world, just to make things simple over here. So now we'll draw different flavors of a MOS. One is the NMOS. Oh. Okay, and the other one is a PMOS. Okay, we'll learn about the voltage levels for NMOS and PMOS separately and in parallel, so that distinguishing between them will become simple. So let us draw a line over here. Good. Okay, so for an NMOS, for now, take it from me that VT is positive. I will upload some videos on the threshold voltage and all. That will include most of the physics behind NMOS and PMOS, and why VT is positive for NMOS, and why VT is negative for PMOS. So we'll understand in the separate video where I will upload. I will talk about semiconductor device physics. For now, we'll just take it from me that it's like VT is negative for PMOS and it's positive for NMOS. So with that said, now let me draw the symbols. So this is how an NMOS looks. Alright, where this is your gate, this is your source. Oops, yeah, okay, nice. This is your drain, and similarly a PMOS has a small round which is present at the front of its gate. It is just a symbol to distinguish between PMOS and NMOS. This again source and this again drain. For an NMOS, when this is a VGS again. Let me type it again over here, or write it again over here, VGS. Okay, so whenever VGS, we'll write a condition over here. Whenever VGS or positive VGS is greater than VT, your NMOS will conduct. It will become a closed switch. Basically this switch what we are talking about, that will get closed and your NMOS will conduct. It's good that I write conduct over here so that it will be clear, but my handwriting is bad over here, but fine, as long as you understand what I'm writing, it is good enough. Okay, so when VGS is greater than VT, this your source to drain, the current flows from source to drain basically. So and we have also made a statement that VT is digital. In the digital world, we'll take it as 0 just to make things simpler. So what we'll do, we'll write over here when VGS is greater than 0, your MOSFET, your NMOS will conduct, or your switch will be closed and it will look like a resistor. Oh sorry, this resistor went bad. And whenever VGS is less than 0, it acts as an open switch. So these are the two conditions for an NMOS to conduct and to not conduct. Similar, we'll draw some similar conclusions for PMOS. So we are saying that when we say that the VT is negative, which means your negative VGS should be less than negative VT. Basically what I'm saying is, if you draw a number line over here and this is your positive X, this is your negative X, so the voltages for operating the PMOS will lie in this area, in the negative area. Okay, fine. And again, when we make a statement like VT is 0 in the digital world, we can just like something like this, that your VGS should be less than 0. Basically it should be a negative voltage for a PMOS to conduct. So when VGS is less than 0, your current flows from source to drain, it will conduct. So I won't write the word conduct over here because it just takes too much of time. Okay, so when VGS is less than 0, your PMOS will get closed and it will act as a resistor. And when your VGS is greater than 0, it acts as an open switch. Okay, let me draw a box over here. Okay, so these are the two conditions that we will be always using in our further videos, where we say you have to just remember that the VT is positive for an NMOS and the gate to source voltage should be greater than 0 for an NMOS to work. Basically in the digital world it should be logic 1, and for a PMOS it should be the gate to source voltage should be less than logic 0, or should be less than 0 for the PMOS to conduct. In further videos I will talk about more about the inception of threshold voltage, and when I say it's digitally 0, but what is the actual potential and what are the components of threshold voltage. We'll talk more about that in my further videos. Thank you.